Hey guys, welcome to our Bad Batch mid-season review. Now, we started Star Wars Bad Batch. We've also got Superman and Lois. We'll be doing that next week. But the Bad Batch is a little easier to do because there's the little shorter
25.
episodes. It is now episode 9. Actually, just got released on a Friday, which was weird. I thought everything was supposed to be on Wednesdays. But I guess
I think that because they originally started releasing them on Fridays, that all new TV series,
all new ones on Disney
Wednesdays.
Plus will be Wednesdays, and then the Bad Batch, since it already came out, will continue on Fridays. All right, so last we spoke, we had episode 1, Aftermath, which we loved, gave a 9 out of 10 to. Episode 2, Cut and Run, dropped hard, and that ended up at a 4 out of 10. So now we have episodes 3 through 8. We'll give you a little extra at the end, episode 9, since it's out on Friday, which I didn't expect. So episode 3, but first let's talk about overall mid-season review right now.
Okay.
Here's how it breaks down. Do you like the character Omega? That is basically how the Bad Batch is going to break down.
Yep.
Now, is it great visuals, great battles, great character development, and interesting story? Yes, to all of those. Maybe the story's a little weaker than I was hoping for, but I like the character development amongst the team of the Bad Batch. I like the fact that we are encountering lots of different characters from across the Star Wars universe. We've had spoilers, Captain Rex, Cad Bane.
You know who any of these people are.
Joe doesn't fucking know because he still hasn't seen the
I
goddamn
haven't seen.
series.
Okay.
Whatever, you'll never watch it. Captain Rex, Cad Bane, Kanan Jarrus, Fennec Shand
too much,
He knows
from
Fennec is.
Mandalorian. Okay, you know that one. And a few more. Some like these sisters, I forget what their names are, that met Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars new season. So that's interesting in a way. It sometimes takes away from the development of the actual Bad Batch themselves, but they get enough development time in that they are fleshed out. And I am feeling like I'm running into a few filler episodes.
Yes.
And I didn't expect that when the series is shorter, in terms of season length than what we've seen in the past for Clone Wars. But yeah, but they're all right filler episodes. They're not bad filler episodes, which would really drag the series down. But I'm getting this feeling of I've seen it before. They're going to a lot of locations and kind of redoing sort of plot lines that we've seen in The Mandalorian with Grogu getting captured.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You can't help but to compare it to it, but
Yeah, and locations where it's like, oh, you remember in the Disney the prequels from George Lucas, they're on that junk planet, and then they go to the junk thing, and just stuff like that. Overall, I am feeling like it's solid. And your feelings on the Omega character, this team having to babysit her as she grows, as she comes into her own. Are you ready to go along that journey, and is that what you want to see? Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
For me, I'm going to try to taper my expectations because going into this, I wanted to see the Bad Batch. I wanted to see their missions and do this and that. But like you said, it really took the Bad Batch took a back seat to Omega.
Correct.
And we've seen this done again, the Mandalorian. I don't like Omega as much as I like the child.
Grogu.
Yeah, and like a lot of these episodes is like she's doing dumb stuff. It's like, look, this is not what we wanted. We wanted to see some cool stuff with that, but this is a babysitting mission now. It's like, oh, she's special. It's like, oh, we've seen it before. But overall, I do like the battles. I do like the animation.
Yeah.
I do like the team. Like, I want to see more of that.
Yep.
But the story just not doing it for me. That's what I was kind of
Yeah.
afraid of.
Yeah.
It's like this too childish.
I'm very disappointed in this series' potential to convert Joe to watch Clone Wars because I don't think it's doing it for
well,
him.
that's what I was
I don't think
afraid
it's
of.
inspiring
Yeah.
Joe to go back and watch the previous
there's some
episodes. But I
good
have
ones.
to tell you, it's not like this. It's not the babysit mission.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. There's some good episodes that I do like. The fight scenes are pretty cool.
Yeah, if you like the fight
sound
scenes, then
stuff
that's
is
what
like,
Clone
yeah,
Wars is all
I'll
about.
probably watch that and like probably skip some. But
Okay.
but overall, I said it's above average. But
Okay.
I'm not
Alex?
really along with Omega.
This feels like Godzilla to me, where you sign up for Godzilla, you want to see Godzilla.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to see the Bad Batch. I want to see them do cool shit. I want to see A-Team in the Star Wars universe and them going planet to planet,
Yes.
doing amazing things. And instead, that's like, well, what if we put them in the background and we talk about this little girl and her adventures and how it kind of relates, and every now and then
why?
they'll interact, but most of the time, and it's not what I wanted. It's not what I signed up for. And look, my expectations were in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
but I
same,
still
same.
watch every episode, and I will honestly say that there's only 2 episodes so far in this series that I would recommend other people to watch. Episode 1, which will ultimately disappoint you because the rest of the series doesn't ever come close to as good as episode 1.
You're right.
And then episode 8, which
cool
I think
too.
is good.
Yeah.
Every other episode, I was like, nah, skip it.
It's yeah.
5 years from now,
we're gonna do a by breakdown episode.
But what I'm getting to is if you are trying to decide if you want to get into Bad Batch, 2 years from now, they're like, hey, should I watch Bad Batch? I'll be like, sure, but watch episode 1 and 8, and then hopefully season 2 gets good.
Yeah, because those are the standout
And look, I
ones
do the
with
same
Bad
thing with a
Batch.
lot of other series too. It's just like, look, when you eventually start sitting down and watch TNG, I'm going to tell you which ones in season 1 are important, and then it's like kind of skip over and let's rush to the other stuff. And maybe that's the case here, but there are so many filler episodes that it's hard to get excited about it week after week. I'm not looking forward to this. It's just like,
filler
okay.
episodes, when we say that, we mean, it doesn't really advance the plot all that much. It's just Omega getting in trouble,
Yes.
getting the team in
Like,
trouble,
oh,
the
no,
team
hey,
getting
stay
out.
here.
But
Oh, no, she
Omega
left.
is her own person, and she can help a little bit, and she helps a little bit, and then the team and her work together and get the thing solved. Over and over and over. So
is like
let's
kinda
go with
childish.
let's just do a rating right up front here.
Okay.
Mid-season rating. How have the episodes been from 3 to 8, not 9, 3 to 8,
3 to
and
8.
give that a rating.
3 to 8, it's gonna be a 7 for me
Okay.
because of everything
Wow.
I said.
I did not expect that. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, like I still do like whenever the team's there, but it's
Yeah.
just like, all right, the Omega parts do kind of hinder the story, but
Mm-hmm.
well, it's basically the whole story. But 7.
I'm surprised that you gave it that high, boy, Joe. You would love the Clone Wars. Okay.
Oh, it's got Darmal. I need to see those episodes.
Yeah,
just
you-
tell me those episodes.
There's some really good
Just
episodes.
tell
of
me
Clone
those
Wars
episodes.
to
I'll go watch
Okay.
those.
There's some filler
More.
in Clone Wars too, but there's a lot less of it.
More in Rebels.
Just 3 to 8, man, that's rough because if you cut out the first episode, which is by far the strongest episode for me, then this is
You're talking about episode 1 or episode 3 being the first episode of 3 to 8?
well. So we're
One.
only talking episode
We're
1.
only talking 3 to 8.
3 to
I
8.
need that.
This is not.
Thi-
Don't
thi-
watch this.
Don't watch
Okay,
it? Okay.
this
If you
is
like it.
this is the point of mid-season reviews.
Don't watch it.
You have to kind of, just but give me a rating.
4. This is below average.
Below
television.
average.
Without, but it's kind of misleading because 1 is really good. But if it's just episode 3 to 8, this is
Sure.
leave it on in the background, be on your phone, have Reddit up
can
on your
still
TV,
catch
I agree with
and
you.
you get everything that you're
I
going to get.
agree with
out of it.
Exactly.
it. I think I could totally see that. I'm going to give it a little bit more just because I have tons and tons of knowledge and history and a little thing. Oh, I like seeing, that's cool and this and that. And Dave Filoni, is in charge of this. It just feels like it's recycling. He's recycling
Yeah.
ideas a little too much. And my enjoyment of the series and your enjoyment of the series will rest on whether you like the Omega character. I've seen people write reviews. Oh, I love the Omega character. It's like, okay, in that case, then you're going to get up higher. But for us, where it's not quite working, I see her growth, and I think eventually Omega is going to maybe not be annoying and maybe come into her own and be a part of the team, which they keep doing that mini arc in every single fucking episode,
Yeah.
including fillers. So I'm going to give mid-season, now granted, this is mid-season, is a 6 out of 10. I'm not saying that is the entire, franchise, and I'm not saying that's, we got to look at my episode ratings. but just overall. And I will rank each and every episode the way I was feeling about it, and it may not match up with the scores or whatever people want. It's all with the average of all the ones that you put together. It's not a 6. Nah, it's just our
Overall
feeling.
feel.
It's an overall
Yeah.
feeling that of disappointment of.
It's not what I signed up for. But again, I'm trying to taper.
It's a little
that.
disappointment.
That was on me.
Wanting to get more people into it and just scream from the tabletop or from the mountaintops that you need to go and see this. But I would say go and see Clone Wars first, kind of thing. All right, so we'll go into the individual episodes now. If that's all you wanted to know about the midseason and how things are going, I think things are going solidly, but not as well as it could. And the potential of where it could go, let's talk about that before we get into our spoilers and individual reviews. We last leave the team here where Omega is captured by Cad Bane. We have a return of Cad Bane, so that's a really cool episode. Episode 8 there.
Yeah, High Point.
That
We
was a
get
good
High
one.
Point again. Crosshair, who has recently been, pitted against his Bad Batch squad. There's a little battle there. Then you get Cad Bane, and then the team loses Omega. What's gonna happen? Cad Bane's really good, mentor of the Fett, and it's like, dang. So a perfect kind of cliffhanger area for the mid-season. But this leaves questions unanswered. It's like, is Fennec Shard maybe going to team up with Cad Bane to get Omega back, or team up with the squad to get Omega back because they've faced her before and she's after Omega. So if she's after Omega and Cad's after Omega, are they going to come into conflict? We'll talk about it later. And it's cool that they have the return of Cad Bane. Are we going to see a conclusion of this guy's story? Like, I love Cad Bane. I think he's really cool. He's an
the
animated
Western thing,
version,
yeah.
Western thing. You know me.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know
like
He's
that
good
shit.
at fighting Jedi.
He's fucking sweet, and just
Well,
other
I saw
bounty
him, I was
hunters,
like, oh,
other
this guy's
bounty
pretty
hunters.
cool. I wanna
And we
see
don't
that.
really have a conclusion of his story. I wonder what happened.
Well, everything's decanonized for him.
Well, yeah, there's actually, because stuff was canceled, there was an unused storyline where Cad Bane was going to come into conflict with Boba Fett, and they were going to have a duel. And I'm unsure if Cad Bane dies in the duel, but I know they shoot each other, and that's kind of somewhat the conclusion of Cad Bane's story in unproduced concepts and scripts. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we've got Bad Batch. Maybe later on in this season we could see something, a conclusion of a story, or maybe if this gets a season 2, I don't know if they plan to do a season 2 of Bad Batch, we could see more Cad Bane in the conclusion and running into, Boba Fett or something. I like that. I like the potential of where the series is going. And as Omega is growing as a fighter. She's got a bow now. She's learning how to, shoot. And she's already been kind of, as what's been called by several characters, the brains of the operation.
tech-savvy,
So eventually, I think that towards the end of the season, she might come into her own and the series might rise above the babysitting mission. It's kind of that natural, what it's supposed to be building towards.
Yeah, it's supposed to be building up. The issue I have is it was plummeting downward, and then we got a little blip, and then now we kind of have to see where it goes from there.
Okay, so that's the overall for the season review. If you want to stick with us, we'll talk about each and every individual episode very quickly. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the spoilers. Okay, welcome to the spoiler section. Let's go through these real quick. Episode 3, The Replacements. Their ship is super beat up. They've got to land, the ship lands itself because it's fucking broken. And we get the storyline of young clones, specialist clones training conscripts. Moff Tarkin is like, clones are too expensive. and we're gonna try this, but they're testing out the theory of combined arms, which is canon, and so that's eventually gonna happen. And the conscripts, they kind of show a little side of the Empire where the conscripts are like, well, I'm not gonna kill these people.
I like this
because they're
I like that battle. I like
scene.
that. It's
Yeah,
like,
because
well,
so
you're
they
not gonna
go
listen.
in and they shoot in. Crosshair's leading the team, and then it's like, well, we killed all the people and he got away. These are just civilians, and he's like, no, finish the mission. And they're like, no, and he's like, he shoots that guy that said no, and then they all fucking murdered everybody.
I was like, dude, I didn't know this was gonna happen, but I did like this one.
Yeah, and so sort of like it's sort of this episode sort of like Han. When Han Solo was trapped in the space whale to get running from the Empire. It's like their ship is broken and there's like a creature and they're like trying to figure out what's going on and stuff. But eventually they get out. Omega completes the mission. She gets sort of her own. She again coming into her own stuff. And then it's over. So that's like, it's a little bit of a filler for me. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
That's some good scenes.
Yeah, episode 4 is called Cornered. And that was, what was it?
Is that the one where they get stuck in the moon or something?
Oh, yeah. The Pantera or something like that.
Yeah.
She immediately gets in trouble. So this is the stuff that we hate.
Yes.
So she gets to the planet. What is the first thing that she
Don't
does?
touch anything.
She turns around.
Oh,
She
no.
sees a little doggy, space doggy, and she goes over
took the
there.
dog.
And then when fucking Hunter turns around, she's gone. And then fuck, you gotta fucking get Omega.
Fennec.
So I hated this shit. And then Fennec shows up, and you're like, oh, cool, Fennec from The Mandalorian. This is sweet. So they kind of find a way to.
Trying to take the child. Why have I seen this before? It's like, okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but she's kind of bad at her job. Like, she could immediately just, like, tie her up and then take her. But she's just like, no, I'm going to be the nice bounty hunter. It's like, oh, what now?
I'm going to brainwash you.
We're friends.
And Hunter goes after them. And, in this episode, they're trying to modify their ship signature to hide from the Empire and so that they can move on to the next thing. We get a Wrecker versus Fennec battle, and I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be fucking sweet because Wrecker has become sort of the surrogate father. Even though Hunter's kind of the father, Wrecker's kind of the friend, and she bonds with Wrecker. So Wrecker's like, oh, I'm gonna beat this person up and save Omega. He gets beat in a single hit. I was like, I knew that was coming. It's Fennec. They want to build her up. They want to make her badass, and Wrecker gets his ass wrecked.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then again, it's like, help me, and we're all chasing her. But then Omega gets her little thing where she contributes to the team, knocks Fennec out of the little escape ship, and they're all racing like, through the city like it was in one of the prequels, where they're driving around and shit. Mm-hmm. Well, and Fennec,
That's
so
when we're first introduced by
she knocks her out of the ship, and eventually they get her back and escape. And Fennec doesn't complete her mission. But the only thing that raises this episode for me, this would be below average for me because it was another one of those.
I'm not gonna lie, I was over here making like food and sandwiches while had this in the background. I was like, okay, I know what this is gonna happen. Okay, yeah,
it's like a 4 out of 10.
Let me guess. The end of this episode, we will have accomplished nothing. We'll have learned nothing,
Yes.
and we will have just rescued this child.
Yeah, I
They
was like,
fixed their
okay,
signature, and now
whatever.
they can hide from the Empire a little more effectively, but they're having troubles with bounty hunters now.
There's hyperspace tracking.
Yeah. Well, no. So I was going to give it a 4 out of 10, but Fennec just straight killing people in this episode saves it a bit. Like, Fennec does not fucking care.
Yeah, this was
so
like,
they,
I
so
like
it went up to a
the
5 out of
battles.
10, average.
Meh.
I would drop it back down to a 4 because if she's straight up killing people, and she doesn't do anything to capture this child, not once.
But you can't
Well, that
progress
just
the
play- that
story.
Fennec is not the best bounty hunter in the world.
But she's supposed to be.
Nah.
She's supposed to be like
Nah, I don't
up
think
and
she's supposed
coming
to
and
be bad.
amazing.
So then we get to episode 5, Rampage, and Omega gets a new comms device, so she feels a little more a
Wonderful.
part of the team. She could talk to everybody. It's funny.
And this
You're
is where
supposed
I
to
like
leave the
Sid.
controller unplugged.
Yeah.
I like
yeah,
Sid.
Sid's Rhea Perlman. Which,
Sid.
Yeah.
What?
Sid?
Rhea Perlman, Danny DeVito's wife. She was in Matilda.
Shit, I
She's
didn't
been in a
know
bunch
that.
of other stuff. So I heard
That's
the voice.
cool.
Like, who is that? And I looked it
Yeah.
up.
So they're looking for Sid. Turns out Sid is this sort of lizard bartender person that used to work with the Jedi, and the Jedi are all dead, so she's got no business. So she kind of teams up with a Bad Batch by giving them mercenary missions. And so the Bad Batch kind of is another subplot. The Bad Batch has
need money,
no
they're
purpose.
broke.
They need money. They have no purpose. They're not with the Empire, so they kind of become mercenaries. And in this, their first mission is to rescue a little kid, but it turns out the kid is a baby Rancor. So I like this episode. It was cool. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. And we assume that, but I was like, oh, shit, is this... Damn, man, that's dark. This is the Rancor that fucking Luke kills.
It made me
it
super
turns
sad
out,
as a kid when they kill the Rancor.
so
and it was
because
like,
this is Jabba the Hutt and his little dude Boba Fortuna that is getting
I
the
noticed that
Rancor.
at the end because that's the guy with the I forget
So,
his
Fortuna,
name.
but
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I looked it up. Actually, no. It's not the one.
You're like,
because
okay.
cause I was like, that's fucked up, man. Luke, come on, man. I like this little thing. But this one's female,
baby.
and the one that Luke kills is male. And if you actually look at toys and things like that, the name of the one that Luke kills is Patessa, and this one is what was it?
Someone with an M.
Mookie or something.
Yeah.
Still made me fucking sad.
Moochie or something. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, Luke does kill Patessa. So
And that
but
guy was
hey,
so
he's still-
sad.
he's still- I know.
Killed his...
But anyway,
And that Rancor looks like Rufus. Rufus is hideous.
So this little baby Rancor fights off another creature that was kind of in the area, like this little lizard type creature. It's Moochie, I think. Wrecker
Something like
fights
that,
Moochie
yeah.
for dominance because they corner Moochie to capture him, and it's a cool little thing because they're just beating each other for hours and
Yeah, this was pretty
They
good.
kind of fall on each other and they hug. And Sid will give them more mercenary work in the future, and she kind of prods him a little bit, like, I know your secrets now. And Sid's kind of got a little bit of a dark thing to her.
Yeah, she's
Anyway,
like,
so
I'm
Rampage
great
I
at
like.
keeping secrets.
It's all right. So 7 out of 10 is what I gave Rampage. Episode 6, Decommissioned.
This one was kind of weird.
This one was super filler
and bad.
and bad.
I was like,
And
yeah.
stupid.
Stupid.
And incredibly stupid.
Okay,
That has
well,
huge
talk
impacts
about
on
it.
the
Talk-
whole
talk-
story.
Talk about. Do you remember it?
Yeah,
enough?
this is they're trying to go for a droid, tactical droid's a memory card from its head, right? Because there's there's a lot of value there, and it turns out that someone else is also looking for it, and it's these two sisters are also looking for it. There's this little scuffle over the thing, and police droids come up, and then ultimately the droid head gets exploded, and then no one can have it. And they're like, well, I really needed that because we're trying to fight the Empire, and it's kind of showing like there are good guys in this, and there are bad guys in this. He's like, okay, well, tell you what, we actually made a copy of the droid's memories, so we'll give you the copy of the memories.
Yeah.
Well, them giving away the copy and not making a second copy, because copies are possible, means that they owe Sid insane amounts of money. They have no money, and the whole rest of the season is like, oh, we're broke, we've got no money, we're practically
Sid's like, "You
slaves
owe
to
me."
Sid. You have to do all this stuff. It's like, why didn't you just make a copy of the copy?
It doesn't make any sense.
And it's the worst episode
a
of the
filler.
entire
Yeah.
season so far.
Yeah,
I was like zoning in and out of this one.
No, I actually think episode 2 was a little worse. Or they're about on the same level for me.
Yeah,
About on
they're-
the same level. So this is where she gets her new weapon. She's practicing with the new weapon that she
bow,
found in the bow in the last episode. She sort of asserts herself a little more in this episode. They're going after that droid, but Trace and Rafa Martez, show up to go after it for the good guys. They have a client, and it turns out that the client is cool. That's Captain Rex, and that's in the next episode. But yeah, this episode sucked. It was a filler episode. There was a little bit of shooting with security droids. The only cool thing that I thought elevated a tiny bit was getting to see the droids helping the clones instead of fighting the clones, because they reprogrammed the droids. But that's such a small part of the episode that it couldn't save it. And then that's it. So I gave this one, I was at a 3, but then I kind of bumped it up to a 4 with some of the action in it. Like I said, the action in the show is good, and the team is fine. So 4 out of 10. Then we go into episode 7, Battle Scars. This one was better. You got to get a lizard. At the beginning, they're implying that they're doing jobs for Sid to make up for all this stuff. So they give Sid this laser, and then she pays him very poorly. She's being just fucking jerk to them.
Well, and then she specifically mentions, like, had you brought back this droid, you wouldn't practically be my slaves. And it's like, well, why didn't you give a goddamn copy of the whatever?
Wrecker and Omega really bonding. There's and in the last episode, Wrecker was complaining about his head gets hit, and it's kind of chip. Maybe sort of you're wondering, oh shit, is something gonna happen? That's what they set up for this episode. The and it turns out the client was Captain Rex, and he's kind of got a hooded, and he's like following them around, and it's cool. It's cool to see Captain Rex with the Bad Batch. Then he's talking about the inhibitor chip. He's like, no, you need to remove these. This is crazy.
Dangerous.
So it sets up for Wrecker getting hit again and then turning into the villain just like Crosshair. So in this episode, it's basically Wrecker versus team. And Rex fights him a little bit, but mainly it's Hunter who's doing the heavy lifting, and they're fighting. And he gets knocked out, and then it's Wrecker versus Omega because she like shoots to the side to try to save Hunter, and then Wrecker comes after her, and she's like trying to appeal to him, and but luckily Rex ends it, stuns him before Wrecker can kill Omega. That's it. That literally. I mean,
And they
it's
get
just
the
and
chip
they kind
removed.
of
Everyone
and then the
does.
chip gets
That's-
removed. Correct.
Yeah.
that
So
was
that
it.
was battle scars. I thought it was fine. I liked seeing, them sort of the dynamic there, because I like Wrecker as a character, and I don't want him to get hurt and don't want him to fight his other team. We've kind of seen that already.
So if
with
Rex
Crosshair.
wasn't there, what would you give it?
Below average.
Oh yeah, it would be if
'Cause
Rex
that's-
wasn't there, probably be like a 5.
Well,
but I
that's
gave
how
it
it felt like for me, because
an
I was like, I
average
don't know who this
episode.
is.
Right.
So I was like, man.
It raised it a whole point for
Yeah,
me for
that's what
sure.
it kinda
Because,
I
said.
gave
oh,
it a
cool,
6.
Rex is coming back. That's great.
But
then yeah, it's just
It
average
doesn't- it doesn't
episode.
do
It
a
was just
whole
there
lot.
for like nostalgia value.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 for that one. Episode 8 is the final one here, and we'll talk about 9 afterwards. Episode 8 reunion.
Yes.
This
Good
is
one.
Crosshair comes back, and this is the good one that we said, hey, so far the best episodes have been episode 1 and episode 8. Bounty
Firefights.
Hunter. So he was, Cad Bane was hired by the, what are their names? Canosians, to save Omega for their purposes, because they don't think the Empire's reckless. They don't think the Empire cares about them anymore. They're going to lose their source of revenue. They need a backup. Their clones are degenerating or something. They keep mentioning something like that, and they need an
can't shit.
original copy or whatever. So I think that's kind of why they want them, and there's little hints here. Episode 9 kind of pays that off, but little hints here. What's the battle with Crosshair? So he finally shows up with his battalion of
a huge
people.
amount. He's like, hey, no, you can send a scout force. He's like, no,
no, we need
I need
more.
more,
Bad
more.
Batch.
Bad Batch.
And so they show up. They're attacking them on an old Jedi cruiser. And
The planet's cool because it's like a
scrap
scrap,
planet.
Yeah.
but there's water, and he's like, stay out of the water.
There's a squid, Billy, that lives inside the water. And, so it's kind of cool because like Crosshair knows the playbook, right? And so he's like, well, we'll tap into their comms and we'll know where they're going, and then we'll go the opposite direction. But Crosshair knows that, and so he does. It's interesting seeing like this team on team dynamic.
Yeah, Tech taps into that. He can hear them. And
It's way
fun.
less about Omega. So
Yeah.
this episode.
Hey, another great episode
a-
when we focus on the fucking
Yeah, and so we actually focus on the Bad Batch, the original Bad Batch. I know she's part of it now, but it's there's a lot of cool fights going on, and it's like them trying to out tactic each other and try to escape this almost impossible situation. And I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, they kind of trick him, and they get him sort of pinned to where they can activate an engine, and the engine sort of
Collapses,
the
the roof.
and wounds him, and he's like all burn up. And then this squad comes over. He's like, no, get them, focus on them, and you get the ship shooting, and the team's a little split up, and they have to come together. So one half of the team is Hunter and Omega, and they're gonna reach an area so that they can meet up with the other team, but they realize all the troopers are dead already, and they're like, something's going on here. And then we get the ching, the little boot spurs and yeah. And legitimately we get a high noon showdown. We get a little cowboy
Yeah.
fucking
was
thing.
like,
And
oh,
I
that's
like this.
cool.
This is what I like. And Cad Bane shows up, and it's like, oh shit. I'm like, Hunter is not.
They're dead.
Yeah, he's not gonna be able to defeat Cad Bane.
No, not at all.
They do the duel. He gets shot, and Hunter
He shoots the
manages
robot.
to shoot the robot. Like,
I thought it was going to come into play in some way, not just be
It
some
kinda does,
in a
actually.
useless thing in 9 that it was just they're like, hey, but I thought like we're going to do something more with it.
yeah,
But-
in the future, kind of does. I thought he was at least going to get a hit on Cad Bane. I thought he was a better shot than that. It shows that he's a better shot, but maybe Cad Bane fired so fucking fast that he actually, just knocked his hand aside from the shockwave of the hit. Anyways, so the squad is obviously loses, and he captures Omega, and then that's sort of the cliffhanger, and what's going to happen next.
And they got to get
it was a good cliffhanger, good episode. I was going to give it an 8 out of 10 on that. Now, since it's Friday today when we were reviewing this, we were hoping to review this tomorrow, but I had some things to take care of. So episode 9, why don't we just talk about it? Because we just saw it. So Cad Bane is just so cool. I love him. I think he's great. I wonder, and here's where I was writing. I wonder if they're going to tease a conclusion to Cad Bane's story in the Bad Batch, franchise. I don't know. Or is that going to be later on in a season 2? Or maybe will we ever see Cad Bane come into live action in the Mandalorian, maybe Book of Boba Fett stuff? Or I'm not sure about the timeline, though. I'd have to look up the timeline. Anyways, Fennec is already there where Cad Bane is trying to take her. And the motherfucking Kamonian is already dead. And it just...
The prime minister. Or
something is not right.
He's not dead. He's hurt.
Or he's knocked down. I thought he was dead.
No, she said, I need to go help him. And he's like, you're not going to be able to help him. So he's not
because he's dead.
Oh, wow.
I think Fennec killed... Anyway, Fennec's just killing people. I think, and so Fennec is already there, right? And there's a battle between Cad Bane and Fennec. So I was like, all right, great episode, great action, bounty hunter on bounty hunter. I do think they kind of raised Fennec's power level to try to, obviously, because I think Cad Bane could have, took care of her a little better. But whatever. She's her own bounty hunter, and she's really good. But in this case, Fennec is a good guy who, is trying to convince her. Well, yeah, right.
She's just trying to get paid,
kind of on a better side because she's trying to help Omega this time because the Kamonians now have an internal conflict. They need her as a source of genetic material for their clones project, and because the gene seed is deteriorating from Jango Fett, and they need her, but
you can't think about DNA at all because nothing makes sense.
There's still some unanswered questions because that doesn't make sense because then if they use her, she's going to degrade too and whatever. But there's something special about Omega. Maybe that the second half of the season will reveal.
They didn't take any blood from her the entire time that she was there.
They were trying, they were like, we need a genetic sample from her. It's like, you didn't fucking use it. You don't have any genetic samples. You didn't think of that. So whatever. So anyway, as they're fighting with Fennec, she uses the communicator to do long range and get Bad Batch to figure out her location. And so she manages to escape herself with Fennec's help in a dropship, and the dropship, kind of falls apart. She has a thing with Cad Bane's robot. Let me just mention that. She kind of tricks him, fixes his leg because it got shot by Hunter. And
he's got no control bolt because he lets a fugitive out of the thing, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I guess Cad Bane trusts this guy, but this guy's a fuck up. His robot fucks everything up for him, and I was just thinking the whole time if the robot wasn't there, then Cad would have been way more effective.
What I like about characters like Cad Bane is they are a like Star Wars is, it's a samurai western in space, right? And it's kind of the Wild West, especially in this period of time. And there is no opportunity for a serious character to fuck around. If you fuck around, you lose the mission, you lose the bounty, you lose anything. And that's what I kind of liked about, the idea of having Cad Bane in it, because he's very serious. And what I didn't like about earlier with Fennec is Fennec's like, oh, I'm being paid an unreasonable amount of money to capture one of the most important pieces of genetic material in the entire galaxy and bring it back. And it's like, I'm going to give her a piece of fruit, and I'm going to walk through the city, and I'm not going to immediately go zap and put her in a ship. And then we get this. We come back to this where it's just like we're fucking around a little bit. And I get that this is more of a kids-centric show, but I mean, I think you can still have some serious characters and serious writing and stuff like this.
She's rescued by the Bad Batch team, and then you just have to remember at this point that it's kind of revealed that the Kaminoans have a conflict, and I tried to figure this. I had to look it up. Lama Su is evil. And Lama Su sent Taun Wei to kill her, but Taun Wei is killed by Fennec, and Nala Se is good. So Lama Su is evil, and Nalase is good if we're talking about the
Prime Minister.
Samoans.
The Prime Minister is
They
evil.
want to kill her.
Right,
and save her.
Nalase wants to save her or
Destroy
whatever
her.
and try
Yeah.
to, and so she's the one that hired Fennec to try to do that. So, anyways, and then the team sort of reiterate to Omega that she's never going back to Kamoa.
Because she doesn't want to get experimented on.
Just wanna
Right,
end up
but
in
they
the-
said
Like
that
the
in episode 3 and
Mandalorian.
it's obvious and everything.
Yeah.
But I think actually this was actually another good episode because we get sort of the reveal of the plot lines of the Kamoanians. We get the bounty hunter battle, which I
Or the
really
battles,
liked,
yes.
and then we
Again,
get
that's the saving
Omega
grace.
asserting herself again and actually doing something instead of being the prison. Wait a minute, she was the prisoner yet again, and then she breaks out. That's the same fucking
The
thing.
Omega
that
thing I
happens
didn't,
over
I
and
didn't
over.
care for, but I think the action in this episode
Yeah,
really
that's
saved
what
it.
like the saving grace
So
is
I
the
think
battles.
this is 7 out of 10 is what I gave it, and so I liked it. I changed it to 8 out of 10 because I liked the battle between the bounty hunters. So one of the better episodes. So now, in my opinion, with taking into account episode 9, you've got episode 1, 8, and 9 are the ones that I like. That's the mid-season. All right. We don't want to make this too long. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
If you like seeing these, please support us via Patreon. It helps us to put in some of the extra time to watch some of these series and give you a breakdown for it. So the links to our Patreon are down below. There's some cool rewards there. Also, helps us with our Q&As and all sorts of good stuff. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.
Bye,
guys.
That fucking guy just ripped.